Yo, what's up guys? My name is Kiro SA and today I'll be teaching you how to make beautiful R&B chord progressions. And before we start, make sure you have a notepad or anything that you can write on so that you are able to jot down this information that I will be giving you in this video. And because I don't know which level you are in terms of making chord progressions, I will be starting with the basics and advancing from there. And the first thing we're going to start with is the number system. So in short, the number system is what we use to number chords that are in a scale. And for this video, we are going to focus on the C major scale. The 1 chord is a major chord, the 2 chord is a minor chord, and the 3 chord is also a minor chord. The 4 chord is a major chord, the 5 chord happens to be a major chord but can also be a dominant chord. I will explain what a dominant chord is later on in the video. So the 6th chord is also a minor chord, and the last chord, which is the 7th chord, is a half diminished, which I will also explain later. So knowing this, we're now going to choose a chord progression, and the chords I chose is the 2 chord going to the 6th chord, and the 6th chord going to a 4 chord, and the 4 chord going to the 1 chord. And right now it sounds bad, but we're going to make this chord progression sound better, and right now it sounds like this. So the first thing we are going to do to make this chord progression better is extensions. And here is an explanation of extensions. So for this chord progression, we are going to extend these chords by adding 2 notes to each chord, and those notes are called the 7th and the 9th. And I also have highlighted the notes so you can see them. And now the chord progression sounds like this. So it's starting to sound a little bit better, sounding more like R&B now. And the second thing we are going to do is inversions. So in short, inversions is you taking the notes you already have and now arranging them in a way that will make sense when they all played together. So the one thing I found that all these chords have in common is the note E. So I took the note E and emphasized it by taking it to the top of all the chords, and for it to make sense, I also took the other notes down an octave, and now it sounds like this. So before we go to the third step, let me quickly explain what a dominant chord is. And in simple terms, a dominant chord is a major chord with a minor 7. And one of the reasons we use a dominant chord is because it's a tension chord. An example I can give is, it's like the spice you put on a chicken. You don't really need the spice, but you want the spice because it makes the chicken taste better. And here is the difference between a major 7 chord and a dominant 7 chord. So just from that example, you can already tell that the dominant chord doesn't really sound good when it's playing on its own, but in the context of the chord progressions, that's how it becomes the spice. Another example I can give is, you cannot really eat spice without the chicken because we don't really do that, but you can eat spice that is mixed in with the chicken. So that's what the dominant chord is there for, to work with all the other chords. So the third step is called the 5 of X chord. So in every major scale, the 5 chord is a major chord, which can also be a dominant chord, aka spice chord. So if you still remember, our chord progression is 2, 6, 4, 1. So what if we played the 5 chord of the 6 chord that we are going to? So the 6th chord in this chord progression is a minor chord, in particular A minor. It's A minor 9 because of the extensions. So now we are going to go out of the C major scale into the A minor harmonic scale, because that's the chord that we are going to. So now in the A minor harmonic scale, we're going to identify the 5 chord, which is a dominant chord. And if you're asking why not a minor natural scale, the answer is the minor natural doesn't have a dominant chord as the 5 chord. So the minor harmonic scale has the 5 chord as a dominant chord, so that's why we're using it. And the 5 chord for the A minor natural is actually a minor chord, so it won't really have that effect that we are looking for. And now our chord progression sounds like this. And to spice things even more, we're now going to put the 2 chord of our 5 chord. So in other words, we're going to put the 2 chord of the E dominant 7. And then in turn, we're also going to make our E dominant 7 become a E dominant 7 with a sharp 5 by taking the note B and moving it as half a step up to the note C. And the 2 chord, by the way, is a B diminished 7 chord. So now I'm going to play the chord progression. Listen more closely to the 2-5 of X, and it sounds like this. And so before the end of the video, so if you are in a situation where you want the 5 chord of the chord you're going to, there's 2 things you must keep in mind. If the chord that you are going to is a minor chord, you then have to go to a harmonic minor scale of the chord that you want to go to in order for this to make sense. And if the chord that you are going to is a major chord, For example, let's just use maybe the chord you want to go to is a D major chord. In that sense, you would go to a D major scale and then play the 5th chord of the D major scale right before the D major chord that you want to go to. And so for the sake of the video, for it not to be too long, I will end it here, and I hope you learned something. And till next time, thank you very much.